Hey FlossTube Stitchers, welcome back to my channel and to another episode of What in the Heck is Going On in My Life Right Now? 2023 is kicking my butt. No, it's not. I'm getting through it with the encouragement of the stitching community and having a supportive family and relying on my faith. But I'm telling you, most days I feel like that meme of the wet cat that says, it's fine, I'm fine, everything's fine. So I actually, when I was looking that up, I found this t-shirt that I want to order, and it's even in my color. It probably comes in other colors too, but this was the one that showed up first on the screen. So I think I need that. Anyway, I'm going to start off with the Atomic Ranch Fabrics 2023 Spring Fabrics, which is a bright spot in the year so far. In fact, I have a funny story. It's one of the few things that I remembered to pre-order before Nashville. The timing of the pre-orders was, it was really unfortunate with all the family events that were going on, and I just didn't get much pre-ordered. Luckily, I get a lot of automatics already, so it wasn't too bad. And there were still some items that they had run out of by the time I got to their room, so I'm actually still filling market orders. But I had pre-ordered this probably sometime in January, so that deadline was earlier than most of the designers because of the time it takes to turn fabric around. And when I got back to the shop the Tuesday after Nashville, one of the messages waiting for me was from Mike at Rogue Wholesale, and he had called on Sunday afternoon and said, hey Shelly, we haven't seen you yet, just wanted to let you know that your spring fabrics are here ready to be picked up. And when I listened to the message, I realized, you know, he had called at market and he didn't have my cell phone. So I had to laugh because I didn't even remember pre-ordering it. And then when I was in his room, we had a conversation about something else completely. And I don't know, I guess I just thought I was waiting for my Atomic Ranch, the Neutrals Fabric of the Month Club. And I had completely forgotten that I had pre-ordered this. Anyway, it came this week. I told them to save on shipping and just mail both orders together. So they're beautiful colors. I've already sold some of it, but I did get a half yard each of 14, 16, and 18 Aida and 28, 32, and 36 linen. I didn't get 40 because I haven't really had a lot of requests for 40 in pastels. Usually people want 40 in like the samplery colors. So that's what I decided to get this time, although you can order a lot of other things, including Lugana. I didn't order Lugana on these either because that fabric tends to be lighter, and these are already really pastel. So I'm only going to show you 32 count because I felt like they did a really great job with the color coming out the same across the fabric styles, so I don't need to hold them all up. I picked DMC 23 as a fairly good match to blush. It's a little lighter and not as baby pinkish, but it's the best one if you're looking through your stash to kind of see what it might match. And then I picked 159 for Morning Lilac, and I realized that in the social media post, people thought this might be blue, but when you put this next to blue, it really does look lavender, but when you put this next to different shades of lavender, it can look on the bluer side. So it's obviously lighter than this color, but it's in that family. And then 928 is what I pulled for Morning Mint. So I just think that's lovely. And then I couldn't find a light enough yellow. This is 3078. So it's kind of in that family. It's a little brighter than some of the other yellows. It's a little more, well, they call it primrose. I don't know, daffodil. There's a lot of other yellow flowers. And I just really couldn't get a handle on matching it up to something. So obviously it's lighter, but it's in that general family. So if you're interested, the Aidas are $20 for a quarter of a yard, and the linens are $30. And since I got so many styles, I only got a half yard each. So a few of the fabrics are gone already since Friday. But just let me know if you're interested in any of those. All right, let's get that put away safely. And then I will move on to my whips. They are both from my freebie February posts. This is Jan Hicks Creates. This is Home from her website. And I'm using ink water lilies from the Caron collection. And I just love it. Those are all like my favorite denim shades. And I wanted to point something out. I obviously didn't work that hard to have the colors like maybe more placed more evenly. I just started stitching, and you know, when I was done, I was done. But up here for these two flowers, I decided to start in the same place with the thread going in the same direction from the same cut, from the same length. And I started with the bottom of the stem of the flower and moved up. So there are ways of having your corners all match or having a motif be more even. And the important thing is to keep track of the direction of your length. This would be easier with silk because it's either 8 or 12 ply. So when you cut a length, you have a lot of opportunities to start in the same place. I took a class years ago at a retreat. It wasn't something I ever would have signed up for, and I never stitched the project, but I went in place of a friend who had a medical emergency and couldn't go. And I don't even remember who the teacher was, but it was a geometric design, and she was so picky about starting in the same place and keeping a map, you know, of how you were stitching to make sure that you did all 4 corners going the same way. And I appreciated kind of the science or the math behind it, but I really didn't have that strong of a desire to do that. And I just feel like these Quaker motifs didn't require it because the design is not symmetrical anyway. Those were the only really 2 elements that I thought it would matter. So I had fun, you know, doing that and seeing that they came out the same. Alrighty, then the other whip, I honestly thought that this would be finished, but I was having so much fun on that with the silk that I never went back to this one. But I did accomplish something since the last time I showed it. I finished all of the dark color out of the 3 shades of blue, and I was using blue corn. Am I using blue corn? I thought I had it out here. Or blue suede. I don't remember. It says on the post back in February. I think I said blue suede was my new favorite color, but I might have used that for another of my February starts. So all I have to do is fill in the letters with one color, and then there's some X, just like a checkerboard, or not a checkerboard. There's just some X's making up a design in the background, and I was thinking of either doing them in half cross or only using 1 ply so that it was more delicate looking. So I have to pick my other 2 shades of blue, and then there's a little heart that gets done in a red or a pink or something. This is the reason I chose this. I can and I will. This is from Silver Creek Samplers from her website. Then I have a finish, and this is called Simple Sampler, and you can get it in the Friends of Lucy Beam Facebook group in the files. and I already forget the fabric. I have so many favorite blue fabrics. I know it was a Picture This Plus. If you go back to my February posts, it says in there what I was using. But I stitched it with one strand of the Sulky 12 weight black, and I really enjoyed working with that. I need to stitch more with Sulky. In fact, I'm looking into getting cabinets of the solid colors. I would have loved to have brought them home from market, but I need to get rid of something else first before I can add more cabinets. But I really enjoyed it. You can stitch all the way down to like the last ½ inch and there's no fuzzing or fraying or splitting or shredding or any of those terrible things that sometimes floss does. So anyway, I really enjoy just working with one strand, and it covers very nicely. Alrighty, next on my list is to show you a vintage stitch, and I couldn't find the chart. It's a free chart from 100 years ago when there was no internet and you couldn't get files on people's websites. I'm pretty sure it's Elizabeth's designs, and I'll find it eventually. I decided to go ahead and show it because I will keep looking for it. I went through a couple of my notebooks where things were filed by, they were all of free charts, and they were filed by either theme, season, or designer, and I haven't found it yet because it is really old. But I will find it and I will let you know, and then I could send it to you with an order if you so desire. But I'm sure it's one of hers because she always uses satin stitch in really interesting ways. So I think that's really cute. I decorated for spring a couple weeks ago, way before I went to Nashville, I think, because I knew it wouldn't happen if I didn't do it then. I did just a few areas at the front of my house so that somebody coming to the front door would see spring instead of snowmen. So I'll find it eventually. I did a deep search on the internet, and I just, except for going to Pinterest, which is a rabbit hole of nothing, but I just think it's too old for somebody to be showing it. But we'll work on finding that. All right, then let's see. I chose a winner for the Bookmark Kit from Haystack Stitching, and she gets to choose which one of these she wants. It was Charla Francis, who's, among other things, she said, I have zero experience with perforated paper, so good for you. This will be your first foray into it with really good instructions from a designer that you probably have never stitched before. And so she has her choice of Be Happy. These are $12 in case anybody else is interested. And that's what the kit looks like with the antique paper and the perforated paper and the thread and the needle. And then Flowers is another choice. And the last choice is Smile. So Charla, you can pick one of those and I'll get that out to you. For this week, let's see, I didn't think of what you should say. I guess just put spring in your comment. So I'm going to give Subway Art Spring from Cross Stitch Wonders. It's based on original artwork. What does it say? Old Market. I meant to look up where we could see more of their artwork because she's not a cross stitch designer. It was translated into cross stitch by Marcia Manning. But anyway, this is really big. It's really big. This whole series of Subway art is really large. The design size is 316 by 396. And that could be why they're not selling like I thought they would, because I just think it's adorable. And there are so many of them. There's even sports that you can do. But it's really big, and so maybe people, I don't know, don't want that big of a project. You could do it over one as well. But I thought you guys might be interested because you could take out the motifs or just words, do something else with it, or just use the alphabet for something else. It's done on confetti fabric flare, which is an interesting fabric too. It doesn't show up that great on the front. But anyway, just say something about spring, maybe what you're looking forward to this spring, and I will pull a name. I'll have the random number generator choose. And I hate to, I just have to bring this up every once in a while. It's US only. I'm sorry. It's too costly, and now there's too many extra restrictions and hoops you have to jump through to ship overseas. So I'm terribly sorry about that. Just can't do it. So I had, there was another comment I wanted to read. Among other things, Tammy Morgan said, I've never stitched on perforated paper. I always thought if I were going to spend time stitching, I would stitch on fabric and not paper. Well, I know a lot of people may feel that way. They might be afraid of paper. They might think it's too thin, or that it's cheap, or it's not going to look the same, or if you don't like stitching on Aida, you're not going to like stitching on perforated paper because the holes are really big and obvious. But there are a lot of really great resources for learning about the history of stitching on perforated paper, and I'm going to include 5 or 6 links on the video in the show notes, because perforated paper is not new. It didn't just happen with Mill Hill. It dates back to the mid 1800s. And I guess at that time, canvas and linen was hard to get, and so people were stitching on perforated paper. It was actually designed to stitch on to alleviate that problem. It also might have been too expensive for everybody to stitch on. And then popularity waned like around 1900 when the fabric situation improved. And anyway, they're really interesting articles. Okay, I don't remember where I left off here, but I don't remember what I was saying. So I'll just make something up. Okay, I lost my train of thought. I don't remember what I was saying. Something about how you can do any design on perforated paper as long as it's full X's and you don't have to try to pierce the paper to do a partial stitch, because that might not have good results. You can also take a perforated paper design or kit and do the same thing on Aida, even weave, or linen. So the designs are versatile. Okay, I guess that's it. I have a 2-minute slideshow of the March models that we have in the shop. They're in several different locations. They're not really behind me. So I thought it would be easier to do a slideshow than to show you where they were in the shop. So enjoy that, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.